welcome to our YouTube channel, the Fertility Hub. As you know, we always talk about infertility in both men and women. Today we have a very big topic that we're going to talk about, which is nutrition, diet, the role of food, diet, nutrition, someone's fertility health. Most times they talk about, they say our body reflect the kind of food we eat. So we have a specialist today who is going to enlighten us in about nutrition, the role of nutrition, someone's health, fertility health. But before we begin the discussion, I'm going to request my co-host to introduce herself, and we proceed.
Okay, thank you, Prosi. My name is Akantora Prudence, and I'm going to co-host with Prosi. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, keep subscribing. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Prudence. Let's have our today's guest, introduce herself and tell us more about who she is and what she does, and then we can dive into today's topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Prosi.
Can call me Prosi.
Yeah, I'm so delighted to be part of this fertility hub. I happen to be very much interested in saying to it that our people are healthy, especially while minding whatever we eat. Nava Gulani Mary is my name. Some people call me Mchala Lule. Yeah, Mrs. Lule in particular. I'm a nutritionist and dietitian. True.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mary. You're most welcome. Feel at home. First, tell us, what is nutrition? How should someone understand what nutrition is?
Nutrition happens to be a broad entity or an umbrella. And often at time when you talk about nutrition, people think of food. Yeah, they're really right. Here we look at food with a focus from the time it is grown in the garden. It would be so interesting that we have to mind where we are growing this food, or the animals we are growing. We've seen the birds we eat. We also look at how they are harvested, how do we slaughter these animals, throughout transportation, storage, the preparation at home, the way we serve this food, how is this food consumed, how will it be eaten, how the body digests it, how the body utilizes it, and how the body has to ingest it. And with this food is anything somebody eats to get energy or derive other nutrients. Like the body has to survive whatever you eat for the purpose. Some people say for the purpose of killing hunger. So it becomes food. And in this food we find that we have components that are called nutrients. And with these nutrients are what the body really requires to function. Okay. And that's why sometimes, Madame Prosi, we say...
I said Prosi.
Oh, Prosi. Sorry. That's why we have this common adage, you're what you eat. Sure.
Okay.
That is nutrition.
So that means when you eat burgers, you're a burger. When you eat apples, you're an apple.
To some extent, because it will depict, your body will depict what you're eating. Take an example of somebody who does a lot of red meat. As one grows up, she'll realize that the body is rejecting the contents, so the components from the red meat. Now the hypertension comes in because red meat contains a lot of cholesterol. That bad cholesterol corrects in your blood vessels, and then the blood vessels become narrow, and therefore the heart has to use a lot of energy to pump blood through them. So you come to the doctor, telling him of the symptoms and signs of headache, easy fatigue, you get fatigued easily, and only to take your blood pressure when it is high. So the results of what you've been eating will be depicted by your body. Often at time leaving other factors constant, of course.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Mary, so if we are relating, this is fertility, this is food, this is the food. So what is the role of food into someone's fertility? Because I've come to understand lately that if you, for example, if you have like hormonal imbalance, especially people with polycystic ovarian syndrome, they tend to gain a lot of weight. Even when they're eating healthy, I think that one will be explained, and the doctor had previously explained in the previous episode. But those kind of people tend to grow fat, and it's hard to lose weight. So we need to understand what is the role of food in someone's health, someone's fertility health. Sometimes what I was trying to say is, sometimes you find if a person has hormonal imbalance, and they take certain foods like junk, you find someone missing their periods. But if someone is constantly eating certain foods, they tend to have their normal periods, So I want you to enlighten us about the role of food, of diet, nutrition, someone's fertility health.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, so back to the role of food and fertility. We've seen what food is, and then fertility is defined as the ability to reproduce. And the other opposite is the infertility that we are seeing is coming up so much. And on the other hand, we are also seeing early fertility, like early puberty or menarche in especially girl children, which has also been attributed to food. So with the infertility, we are saying that the inability to conceive or to make one conceive after 12 months, usually 12 months of regular sexual intercourse unprotected. So if one fails to conceive after that time, we begin to question infertility. And for studies have shown that for ladies above the age of 35, it has to be around 6 months. Yes, the other one has been the childbearing age, and now above 35, 6 months of consecutive intercourse without getting pregnant. Now we question. So still with infertility, you find that 30% of the causes have been related to female concerns. Whether the organs are having a challenge or the reproductive system is not functioning appropriately to kind of offer a favorable environment for reproduction. And then the 35%, or 35% is for women, 30% is male, and 20% is for both male and female. Then the 15% has been said to be unknown. So now when it comes to food, for somebody to be fertile, we say to it that food plays a very big role. Right from the time, I'll start a cycle from the time when one is a baby. Yes, so what you're feeding your baby on offers the child the ability to grow well. In the reproductive system, we have different organs that will render us fertile or infertile later in life. Now, if they don't develop appropriately, still, we may fail to conceive or make someone conceive in this case. Take an example with encourage breastfeeding.
Okay.
Yes, once the baby is born, we shall encourage the mother to exclusively breastfeed the baby. Now, if we are not able to breastfeed this baby, still we see to it that our baby gets optimal nutrition because we are preparing it to grow into an adult.
So what you're trying to say is, as a child, that what you eat as a baby, how you're treated as a baby, determines how your fertility level when you grow up as an adult.
There is a correlation. There is a relationship.
Okay.
Because now, as we grow up, for example, at the time of puberty, if the child has been malnourished, with malnutrition, it is either you've taken little of the nutrients the body needs or you've taken too much. So where we have undernutrition and overnutrition. For example, the children who grow up malnourished will become malnourished adolescents. And chances are higher, yes, if interventions don't come in time, and that means they will become malnourished adults. Now with malnutrition, with the undernutrition in this case, they've not had enough of the nutrients to help them grow healthily. Often at time, we shall see those particular nutrients. Often at time, you find that the organs have not fully developed.
Okay.
Menarche onset is late because the body doesn't have the required nutrients to push maybe the hormones. These hormones are protein in nature. We have other nutrients like the antioxidants, the vitamins. They have been deficient, so the entire system is down. And this person can hardly conceive because the programming has delayed or has been affected. On the other hand of overnutrition, take an example. I've once received a case of a 9-year-old weighing 75 kgs.
Wait,
Yeah,
a 9-year-old weighing 75
kgs. So here we are. In this case, the child is morbid obese. She cannot even support her own self. She was having a clash. She had to support herself. And we're back home, the mother says, she eats too much. I don't know what to do for my girl. It's, you find that because of the too much nutrients, we are looking at both extremities.
Yes.
Because of now the excessive nutrients the child has been exposed to, the systems, especially when we look at insulin resistance, insulin is responsible for enhancing the sexual hormones. Now, when we have too much of the resistance, for example, the receptors of the body cannot sense the glucose because of the interference in the insulin functioning in the body. Now, the hormones cannot be, the body can hardly sense these hormones, and therefore the child will not ovulate. We've seen those who ovulate early enough and they are having their periods too early. Yes. And then there are those who now won't get them because we are having a hormonal imbalance.
So it's bad to have your menstrual periods earlier or late?
Definitely, because if we look at it in this perspective, like one is severely undernourished and then the other part is overly nourished.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've not seen adults who are malnourished. How do you tell a kid is malnourished?
Yes, thank you so much. One of the signs that a child is malnourished, the child looks wasted. You know, we have two forms. We have those children who will lose muscle, body mass or muscle mass. You see, the skin is loose. When you bring your child for growth monitoring, we call it growth monitoring, when you bring them for immunization, the children are weighed. Ideally, it has to be on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Okay? So if the child is not gaining weight, we realize the child is not growing, and it is an alarm. We have standards that we follow. For example, when we are assessing them, say weight for height, there is a required height for a particular weight of a child. And then we have weight for age. There is a particular weight for a required child. That's why we say bring your child healthy card. When you come to the healthy facility, the child is immunized, and we shall plot the growth of the child. And there are those particular lines we explain. Now, your child is not growing well, he's below this line, the child is okay, or the child is nourished especially from birth up to the age of 2.
So what is better, to be
Yes.
overnourished or to be...
We have to be in the middle. That's why we say optimal. So the child shouldn't be nourished, even an adult. Neither should you be undernourished, because the two extremities are going to affect the way the body functions. And remember, the reproductive system is part of your body. So any alteration in the way hormones work will affect one's fertility.
So there was a baby. The baby was, you know, those photographs on the bonding.
And the child health card.
There is obese. So the child's weight was obese. Then they were like, what are you giving the baby?
Sure.
Swing the baby. Does swinging help in cutting the baby's weight?
Wow. Okay, now, let me put it this way, that I was talking from childhood and now how the person is growing up. Let me first kind of archive that. So now, if the mother, I was talking of an undernourished adult who failed to conceive. If they happen to conceive, they'll give birth to babies with challenges still, like a low birth weight child, a child whose weight is below 2.5 kilograms. And now we are worried of this child's general growth again. And still shall encourage the mother to give more of the nutrients. Okay, to give the baby more of nutritious feeds, so that we compensate for what the baby didn't get while in the uterus. Yes, some baby are born when they are retarded, what we call intrauterine growth retardation. So the baby is stunted in your uterus, and then you're giving birth to it. However, we can try to kind of control the would-be side effects of the growth retardation in utero between the age of 0 to 2 years. And before, if we saw that the mother is malnourished, and by God's grace she has conceived, when she comes for antenatal, the health workers have to make sure the mother feeds. We shall encourage you, we shall counsel you, get enough of ABCD, get enough of the foods, especially foods rich in protein, foods rich in multivitamins and minerals, so that the baby is not affected. Remember, the baby is feeding on you. Okay. Now, our baby, we've talked about it. There comes a mother who is overnourished. I've said with overnutrition, you're taking in too much than what the body requires. When the mother comes to us, we do what we call a BMI. Because you told me, how will you know that this mother is undernourished, the other one is overnourished? Yes, for all adults from the age of 18, we look at your weight and relate it with your height. So we get what we call a body mass index scale. So that will indicate to us that this mother is malnourished, this mother is overnourished, this mother is normal. And the BMI between 20 to 24.9 is normal. From 25 to 30 or 29.9, this person is overweight. And that's where most of our Ugandan ladies lie, you know.
Yeah, they're overweight.
Yeah, they are overweight. Reason being, we associate it with having money.
Having money.
Yeah.
Oh.
If somebody lost weight, it will be like, what is wrong? She went broke, he went broke.
Or they think you're sick, something.
Stressed and etc. Yeah, so it's still a challenge somewhat in our African setting. You would see brides being fattened, you know, in our culture way back. The wife comes home, has lost weight, and everybody has to corner the man. What is happening to your wife? What is happening to your husband? Okay, coming back to this, the ovary-nourished mother, with a BMI to tell us, especially in your first trimester, we are very much encouraging mothers to attend their first antenatal care visits in the first month. Because there the baby has not, in the first trimester, those are the first 3 months of pregnancy, the baby's weight and other organs around the baby, around in your uterus, have not gained a lot of weight because they also contribute to the pregnancy weight. So we take your weight, we take your height, and do what we call a BMI. Later in the pregnancy, we will not, because you'll be telling us a lie. The baby, the placenta, the amniotic fluid, the blood has gotten now extra weight on you, and your height has changed because you're aching your back to support the expanding tummy. So now we can't get your actual height later into the pregnancy. Now, if the mother is ovary-nourished, we are worried that she's likely to give birth to either an underweight child or an ovary fat child, who will now grow to be an obese child because the fat cells have been programmed in utero. So she has been asking me, does shaking the baby reduce baby's weight? No, we only keep the babies active. Yes. Okay. So increase activity, maybe let the baby do the kicking. We have gotten rattles that we expose to them. Encourage the baby to keep maybe picking on them, keeping the baby active. Because the more it is active, the more it utilizes the stores, the fat stores in the body, so that it kind of uses the body, and the body burns that extra energy stored in it. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so we have seen all this, how the child is born, how the malnutrition and overnourished,
yes.
Those nutrition terms. So I want to see how all this affects your fertility as an adult.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, as an adult, we've seen the programming, keeping other factors constant. We say, one, to survive or to live healthily, you should have a healthy diet. One time a client asked me, Madam Mary, where can I buy a balanced diet? It's not sold anywhere. But here in Africa, we are grateful that we have a lot of foods. On average, most of the foods are fresh. So we look at one's diet. A diet is a group of foods somebody takes, like on a daily basis, a group of meals. We've heard of different diets like the Mediterranean diet. We've heard of ketogenic diets, Different diets are being discussed around, and sometimes it could be for a therapeutic purpose.
Okay.
Somebody comes telling you, I'm dieting. They're like, what the hell? You aren't eating, or, Okay, so Here we say every adult should have a healthy diet. What is a healthy diet? So let us look at the foods that we eat, because we said anything we are eating to kill hunger is food. This food is grouped. For example, we have food that gives us energy, and those are the carbohydrates. You've heard of people saying a low carb, I'm chopping my carbs. So the carbohydrates are all these foods we are eating to give us energy, basically as the main source of energy in the diet. The examples, we have the flours, the cereals, we have the root tubers, we have foods like matoke, we have the sweets, the sugars, we have the energy drinks in there, we have alcohol. Does it give energy? People always say, yeah. Do you get energy when you get drunk? Is it?
But does that mean alcohol has some carbohydrates?
Well, when you look at where it is coming from, it's berry, whether it is this banana, the local brew, and it is there is energy in it.
So you drink your water thinking you're.
That's why people who take beer gain weight.
There we are.
But there are people who take warrage to reduce weight.
We are going to get there.
Okay.
Yes, so now those are the carbohydrates. Then we also look at the foods that are meant to help us grow, or the grow foods. So these are the proteins. And with the proteins, we have those from animal sources and then plant sources. With the animal sources, we have all the meats, we have the poultry, and the products, like the milk, the eggs, and whatever is processed from them. Then the plant sources, we have all the nuts we eat, the pulses, or the beans, the peas, the soy, all that is now the plant source of proteins. We also go ahead to look at the fats. With the fats, we still have fats and oils.
Okay.
Yeah. The oils are liquid at room temperature, like the oils we smear the ladies, and then the fats are solid at room temperature.
Okay.
You'll find that we also have those from animal sources, the shabwe, the lard, the cheese, the margarines, most of them that are from the animal section. But I've seen most of the margarine we have here is vegetable based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's good?
We are going to get there. Yeah, it is an interesting bit. Sorry. So now the oils are basically from plants.
Okay.
So they are liquid at room temperature. Okay? What happens here? They contain the vitamins, what we call the fat-soluble vitamins. For example, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin A, and vitamin K. These are all essential in fertility. Down we go to the vitamins and minerals, or the growth foods. These are basically from the vegetables. The carrots we see, the carrots, they have plant-based nutrients. So the carrot scara, the carotenoids, those are vitamin A in nature. We've seen the apples, the green, the red, we've seen the plums, we've seen the strawberries, and there's that saying, an apple a day keeps the
doctor away. I think.
Yeah, the ophthalmologist is an
apple a day keeps a doctor away.
Definitely. So now this will be the eye doctor, because the more apples you eat, of foods in that category are going to offer eye health.
Okay, apples. I thought carrots.
We are saying because of the color, that color in it, what we call the phytonutrients, we say colored vegetables. Then we say the dark green vegetables. Now those one with the water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin C, the B group, B12, B6, all important in reproduction. Then we see calcium under the minerals. We see zinc, we see selenium, magnesium, iron, all centering at reproduction.
Okay.
Now, when we are choosing our diet, we've talked of a healthy diet. We shall have the diet depending on somebody's age,
Okay.
physiological status. Are you sick and what are you suffering from? Okay, so which nutrients do we need to pull up and what should we push down? Okay, are you pregnant? The level of activity, is he a sports person? There's no way I'm going to restrict carbohydrates for a sports person. Okay, I'll say healthy carbs in this case, because at one time he'll need sugars very fast during the exercise. Reason the body is breaking it at a faster rate. But if you are this kind of person who leads a sedentary lifestyle, you wake up in the morning, a cup of tea is brought to your bed, do a bit of the shower, you're cruising to work, come to your desk, be at your desk like 4 hours, get up, go to the rules, you know, minimal energy expenditure. Now we have to mind what you're eating because you're not using it, you're not utilizing it. Or else, if you don't mind it, you're going to poison the body. Definitely. Now, back, we've seen these foods and what they contain. Okay. So now, what are these nutrients? Where should we focus when we come to feeding and minding our reproductive health? For example, you've grown up, you're a healthy lady, you're a healthy guy, and then you're like, okay, now I think I'm ready for the babies. Though sometimes pregnancies are unplanned, especially here. Should I say in Uganda particularly? Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God.
I think it's across the world. It's across the world. As long as you have live sex, you definitely have the highest chances of getting pregnant.
Definitely, sure. And maybe in the low-income countries, the challenge of accessing the contraceptives sometimes also poses a challenge.
The government is giving out condoms.
It's giving, but if we went out maybe to the rural areas and try to do some kind of population check, somebody will tell you, there's a very bad scenario I've once heard of in my community work, that a guy had to tell us he had to get a polythene bag. It was that ugly.
To have sex as a contraceptive. Couldn't he do without it? No. Let's proceed.
Contraceptive measures, you see, so it is still somewhat a burden. Now, like, okay, how should one prepare? We have pre-conception nutrition counseling. For example, for the lady, a lady should have 3 months of supplementation with folic acid.
3 months.
Supplementation pre-pregnancy. Reason, the folic acid is essential in preparing the uterus to receive and contain the baby. So we have enough reserves, and also the maturation of the ovaries plays a role, so that at the end of it all, our baby's morphology is okay. Yes. I'm centering so much on ladies because
they're the ones who conceive.
They're the ones who conceive. I'll get to the gents as well. Then the lady continues with the folic acid rich foods throughout pregnancy, throughout lactation. So as one of the nutrients of public health importance, yes, here ministry gives it free of charge, the folic acid. It has also been seen to lower chances of spontaneous abortion.
That is folic acid.
Folic acid.
So, don't we have foods that are rich in folic acid
Definitely.
without me having to take the drugs?
Okay, we have the foods, but if we went around, especially the urban areas, and did a dietary survey, we find out a recall, maybe the past 2 days, how much of the vegetables you've consumed. Here, people want refined foods. Posho, if somebody is to take posho, we want number 1, not 1.5, highly polished, and then we've removed most of the nutrients, especially the B vitamin that is found in the husk.
Okay, so I think, can we tell the viewers some of these things where they can get the folic acid without maybe getting to take the drugs?
Okay.
So that maybe, of course, we are not saying people shouldn't take the folic acid, but then it would help them know which foods they can take, so that at least the other folic acid can supplement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, one, we have whole grain cereals. Whole grain. If I'm to take my maize, I'll go and do my boiled maize. It's far healthier than the number 1 posho.
Oh, okay.
Then we have the dark green vegetables. That are so good. Then we also look at the pulses, the beans. The homes you go to when meat and poultry are the order of the day. Kids can never think of the peas, the guinness. Oh my God, no. So we are missing out on this.
Okay.
The folic acid.
The dark green
Vegetables.
vegetables are the nakatis,
Very
not
true. Even booga is okay.
What's booga?
Booga is red amaranthus.
The maroon dodo. Eh?
Amaranthus.
Okay.
It's amaranthus or dodo.
Hey,
Oh,
Sure.
that's a botanical
A
name.
botanical name.
Yeah.
So then there is also, we've had stories of like people saying, I changed my diet, then I got pregnant, and then you're like, what diet did you change? Do you always give them a dietary pattern to follow?
Yes, there are dietary patterns, and then these are the nutrients of focus that I'm trying to highlight now. Yes, from folic acid, we see the other micronutrients. We've talked of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. They are antioxidants. Antioxidants meaning they reduce inflammation. Antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. So in case of any stress that the body is going through, or what we call oxidative stress, the vitamins counteract the effect. For example, the way we see in endometriosis. So if we are having the inflammation of the endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus, definitely conception will be hard.
Yeah.
Because even if fertilization happens, implantation becomes a problem. Sometimes we've even seen situations where even the ovaries have been inflamed. Inflammation occurred in the ovaries or even the fallopian tubes. They are also essential for immunity, so you don't fall sick often. We've seen people getting secondary infertility because of infections, or what we call ascending infections that moved from the outer part of the reproductive system, then spoiling probably the fallopian tubes, and therefore the tubes are blocked and fertilization cannot occur. On the side of males, these micronutrients or the vitamins we've talked about are essential in ensuring sperm viability. So if the sperms are not viable, the amount is less, motility is poor, they are slow. We also see the morphology, the shape of the spermatozoa that is responsible for causing the zygote that cell when the ovum meets the sperm.
The sperm, yes.
Yes.
The
if
fertilization. The
the
fertilization.
fertilization
Okay.
process
Okay.
is also affected by the shape, morphology is shape of the spermatozoa, which is now okay, what we can now call as the sperm.
The sperm.
Yes,
okay,
at the end of the day. So still infertility comes in.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mary. Let's have a break. Watch out for part 2. Stay tuned.